Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. All right, what's up, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about something. It's actually a phrase that I heard while kind of just kind of gathering around, walking around, and then I wanted to give it. When I heard it, I actually just immediately went to writing because it's something that I feel is apropos for the legal system, and it's wolves and sheep. Because just give you an idea. I use words to describe my mentality when it comes to this. I'm a predator. I've even referred to myself. I used the Hillary Clinton statement, super predator. I've even actually, if you actually go and see my name change, my name is Zelle, which means wolf. And it's for a different reason, but at the same time, it's the understanding in this game and understanding the context of how it's being displayed. I'm going to talk about how the dynamics work in our legal system between wolves and sheep. Because you may have heard this phrase in boardrooms, in politics, or even in the wild, just out and about. But in criminal defense, it's a survival guide. And that's what I talk about when I'm weaponizing your defense. So, I want you to sit back and close your eyes. I want you to picture a world where some people are predators, moving with precision and intent, while others follow along unaware and are vulnerable. In the courtroom, the wolves are everywhere. Prosecutors have years of experience. Investigators know how to manipulate evidence. Even opposing counsel who thrive on intimidation. And then there's the sheep. Too often, these are defendants, witnesses, or even attorneys who fail to fully assert their rights or anticipate the moves of the other side. As criminal defendants, your job isn't to just defend. It's to understand who the wolves are, where their traps lie, and how to protect yourself. Every motion you file, every objection you raise, every question you ask in cross-examination is a chess move designed to make sure you are not devoured. But it doesn't stop there. The metaphor applies system-wide. The law awards action and preparation, and it punishes passivity. A person who sits quietly and follows instructions blindly may find themselves steamrolled. You, as a defendant who doesn't see the forest for the trees, may inadvertently become part of the problem. And these are things that I've said countless times before. You have no idea what you're looking at, so therefore your actions become mundane and put you in a place that is not advantageous to you. So next over the next few minutes, I'm going to break down examples from real cases, tactical approaches to turn the tables on aggressive prosecutors, and mindset strategies to ensure neither you or the case is ever treated like a sheep. By the end of this episode, you'll know how to identify the wolves, protect the vulnerable, and play the game with the foresight of a grand master. So, what we're going to get out of this is the wolves they're going to be known as the predators. The sheep are the passive and the vulnerable, i.e. the prey. Now, examples for defending yourselves. One of the things, because again, I'm going to talk about this more in my masterclass. Aggressive prosecutors use plea pressure tactics. And one of the things I talked about before was the fact that they'll go out and they'll use the stacking of charges. Well, there's a counter to that if you know what that is, so you can defend there. And even just the video I just showed, a wolf tactic is to go to intervene on the grand jury. Don't even let them get started. When you're challenging everything, you're chomping at them, you're ready for the fight. That is showing a wolf tactic because you're countering all the things that a prosecutor can throw at you. Why? Because they are trapped in their own world. They can't go outside of it. You can, because you don't have to play in it, but you must understand the rules when you are playing. Now, understand another tactic. Law enforcement leveraging intimidation during interrogation. They're locking doors. They're having multiple officers come in. They have you sit while one stands. Because remember, I told you the whole process is to intimidate. Is be coercive. Now, you know when that happens, there are other avenues that you can go to prevent that. Now, opposing counsel exploiting inexperience of pro se defendants. Now, this is the one that I find most, and I hate to use the word amusing, but it is. Because you'll have someone that'll go in, they don't know what the prosecution is doing. And a lot of times, the greatest one is when they start speaking, they don't know how to properly ask a question. They don't know how to properly introduce evidence. And the prosecutor doesn't even go through the whole ritual of objection. They'll just yell out objection. They won't tell you what the objection's for, but it's just to throw off your rhythm, make you think about something because you don't know what they're doing. Judge never rules on it, but it's just a tactic to throw off your rhythm because you don't know what it is that you're looking at. And that becomes the issue. So, let me do something because this thing seems like it don't want to stay where it's supposed to be at. Now, one of the case examples that you're going to have where is case example, let's put it that way. Miranda v. Arizona illustrates how unprepared defendants can be exploited if unaware of rights. The sheep mindset before the rights were mandated to be read. Arizona v. Miranda is the reason that that case is a precedent because they have to be read. Because I even did the video, last night, where I spoke about if it's not done, the rights you have. Because most people say, I know my rights and have no idea what they are or how to protect them. Because knowing them and knowing how to protect them are two separate things. Because they can do the foolishness, and I invite it. Because I don't fight with my enemies when they're doing things that benefit me because they are doing it wrong. Because just like the example I gave whenever I was pulled over in Atlanta. I'm over in Pittsburgh. And the officer noted how calm I was. And I told him, he was like, well, why are you so calm and you out here dressed like this in this area? And I told him, I said, why would I be upset with someone that's getting ready to hand me $1 million? He thought he was doing everything right. The problem was he did nothing according to law for the most part. And then he was taking my truck, the asset forfeiture, which was illegal. I knew that. He didn't. And ignorance is no excuse from the law. And this is why you go after these type deals. Now, what is going on here? Because this... Anyway, I really wanted to do this video. So, hopefully, you can bear with me a little bit and it'll work like it's supposed to. Because it keeps refreshing on my side and I have no idea why. But, here's the great part about Miranda. Always anticipate wolves' moves Never assume passivity is safe. There is always a tactic in doing something, because even aspects of being a wolf, part of that is understanding how to stalk prey, how to set the traps for prey, and then understanding when to be patient. That's the key move, because you can't move every time they move. But when they move, it should be a move you force them into. Always understand that. Because if you think a passive approach will protect you, think again. In case after case, the prosecutor will use every tool at their disposal to pressure a confession, a plea, or otherwise an unwise decision or an agreement, which puts you behind the eight ball and gives them a win. And it works, especially on defendants who don't understand the game and they're playing with pieces that they have no idea how they move. That's why knowing your opponent is crucial. Don't be a sheep. Because again, I even spoke about this. You have all the pieces to the game, but you have no idea how it works. And then you're wanting to play, and you are not at the level where you need to be playing the game that you're trying to play. And what's the next part of it? Know your opponent, because if you know yourself and you know your enemy, you need not fear 100 battles. But if you don't know yourself and you don't know your enemy, you need to fear every battle. Again, Sun Tzu, Art of War. And that's what this is. This is war. Now, prosecutorial overreach are tactics of wolves, because they'll be threatening severe sentences to coerce pleas. Again, my case is a great example. I was charged with 108 counts of racketeering. Racketeering, influence, corrupt organization. The top counts were racketeering, influence, corrupt organization, and conspiracy to commit racketeering, influence, corrupt organization. 108 counts at 20 years per count. Now, you do the math. That's over 2,000 years. Here's the flip side of that. I also spoke about several people. Vet was one who took a ridiculous deal. She didn't get jail time, but she took a ridiculous deal and she hadn't committed a crime. Corey took a deal, hadn't committed a crime. Eric took a deal, hadn't committed a crime, because they were threatening these 2,000 years behind bars to coerce a plea even when they didn't commit a crime. Now, law enforcement manipulation. Did false confessions. This is something that is used constantly. And then here's the next part of it. The prosecutors attempt to use it as grounds for convictions. Because again, goes right back to another wolf. The courtroom intimidation. The lawyers or judges subtly favoring prosecution. And here's the great part about it. When I used the word, and I was speaking to Judge Courtney Johnson, I said, you have been showing bias. You would have thought I kicked somebody in the nuts. Because that is not something that's said by other piranha. I am an out-of-town shooter. I do not have to. I am Neo. I was outside the Matrix. I don't have to abide by their rules. I'm not on their team. We weren't buddies. That is one of the things that you're doing. I showed them that I too am a wolf. I am a monster. I used the word bias. And I used it on the record in front of her boss. I crossed several lines that would have never been crossed had I been part of that bar system. I overstepped, and it caused such a ruckus because they didn't know what to do or what to infer from it, other than, yeah, we need to go ahead and move along with him. Now, examples is Frazier v. Cupp shows psychological pressure in interrogations. Because what I told you, this is what they're fighting for right here. Because this controls all of this. If you are weak in here and you're weak up here, you're going to do whatever the hell they ask you to do. Always understand that. And because even with us, my father told me not to trust anybody. Don't follow anything and just keep rolling. And me and my brothers, we literally have always said, we don't take pleas. We don't care if you got a video of us with our social security number tattooed on our ass and you show it to us. It's still going to take 12 people plus Jesus to say we did it. You got to come take that from me. I'm not giving it to you. Especially when I don't think you do it correctly to begin with. So these are the things that you have to understand. The mentality is different. I'm a confrontational person. I enjoy the confrontation. I look forward to nothing more than I accept we fighting? Oh, let's get it. Oh, you giving me a date? Where the arena at? That's what I need to know. What time I need to be in the arena? Because I'm going to put you in a chokehold. And I love the expression from Khabib. If you don't watch MMA, don't worry about it. Khabib said, fighting me is like taking you out to the deep end so you can discover who you are, and then I drown you. That's what it's like. Because I am too fat and too big to be scared. And I am too stupid to run. I'm coming. I'm going to be there. I want to be there. If you want me there, I'm there. I want to be there too. Because I enjoy nothing more than to flex on someone who thinks they're above me. Because I can show you better than I can tell you. Because I even love those that actually come on board. Because even if you watch the video and we talked about how to win in court or why you're not winning in court, he said, yeah, he sent me in there. He just handed me paperwork and told me don't say nothing. And I went in there and they talked crazy to me. And then he spoke about this next time he went after he did what I told him. He was Mr. Hey, do you need anything? How about this? Why? Because the power he exuded. He showed that he was a wolf. He wasn't scared. Because the simple fact that he fought off his natural instinct to defend himself, to follow instructions, and then accept what was going to happen, showed he was not scared. Because when you show fear, I'm gonna give you one. When someone is scared, or give you the Mike Tyson analogy again. When someone gets hit in the mouth, we find out who they are. Because 90% of people go to flight. I get 1,000 text messages. I get 1,000 emails. And it's simply this ain't for you. Because this isn't for the sheep. This is for the wolves. This is not for the faint of heart. This is not for those who easily cower behind anything. When you're defending yourself, that's exactly what it is. Because in order for you to be a great leader, you have to first learn to be a great follower. And when you're able to follow, you're then able to apply, and then you're able to recreate for yourself. Always understand that. Because doing this is not easy. It doesn't get any easier. And it doesn't become comfortable. But it's fun. Because this is what I'm talking about. Wolves don't need to break laws to win. They understand the psychology of fear. One look at a defendant's hesitation or confusion, and they push harder. The trick isn't to fight fire with fire blindly. It's to anticipate the fire and protect yourself before the sprinklers ignite. Always, always push back on everything. And if you're told, don't say nothing, watch how uncomfortable the silence becomes to everyone around you. Because even I have a meditation channel. And that's one of the things that people will text me or email me, and they'll say that's the most difficult thing for them, to actually just sit down, cut off everything in the house. You don't have no TV, no radio, no iPod, no iPhone. You just sit there in silence for 5 minutes. Watch how it irritates you. Watch how it just drives your body crazy. That is the most difficult thing to do. Even remaining silent for 5 minutes. Most people can't do because it irritates their soul. Because that's where it comes from. It's an inner spiritual thing. It's who you are. And I'm going to give you a great one too, because I spoke speaking to someone about my son. And I told him, I said my two youngest sons, they are not built. They were not born with the fear gene. And they said, what do you mean? I said, they're not scared of anything. I said, and that is the most dangerous person to be around, when they don't fear anything. And there's no logical reason for them not to be scared of something. But if you push them, their first instinct isn't to run, it's to plant their feet and fight. Because even my nephew, I have a nephew, and he was born deaf. And when he would come down the steps, he would stomp. So one day they thought it was a great idea to see if they could scare him, because again, he can't hear. He walks down the steps, and his aunt jumps out at him. Ah! He screamed, closed his eyes, balled his fists up, and just started throwing punches. I ran over and hugged him. I told my brother, I said, this boy's going to be a problem. Because even though he was scared, the fight came out, not the flight. He was like, if you going to get me, you finna get these hands too. Always understand that. Who you are will come out when pressure is applied. Because that's why I'll talk about everybody's strong when there's no resistance. When there's no pressure on you, you strong as hell. When there's no reason or recourse for you to be where you're at, you the man. But soon as somebody 2,000 years, all right, well, let me tell you, you got some paper I need to sign? What you need me to say? I'll even testify. And you never pay attention to that, because you don't realize how weak someone is until they're weak in front of you. Now, the key points of transforming sheep into wolves. Because it's not a permanent state. You can actually train yourself. The Marines do it all the time. And again, I've used this correlation before. You can go, and this is also where I talk about expectation management. Because my job is to read a person quickly and then to manage their expectations of what's going to happen. And that's transforming you from a sheep into a wolf. Because I'm going to be proactive with motion practice. I'm going to file suppression motions, challenge evidence, anticipate discovery issues. These are the easies. The cross-examination technique. These are going to be things I'm going to coach you on. Make sure you understand what it is you're listening for, and how to spot them and expose inconsistencies in witness testimony and police reports. Because even a case example, Gideon B. Wainwright, empowering yourself with legal representation fundamentally change your survival odds. Just the basics can get you into another dimension. I actually had a dude call me. I haven't talked to him since 2020. And one of the things he told me, he's like, dude, he said, since I've been messing with you, I've won at least 8 or 9 cases. He said, I had some cases that were just lingering on. He said, as soon as I started following you and doing what you were asking me to do, I just started winning all my cases. He said, and it was so simple doing the basics. And he never got past because again, I did a video, do this first if you ever have a case. He never got past those 3, and he was winning. Why? Because the nature of the beast doesn't change, and they saw that he was a wolf. There was no reason for them to keep pursuing him because they knew he was going to keep fighting. Because turning you into a wolf doesn't mean making you aggressive. It means giving you knowledge and strategy. And once you know your rights and understand the tactics, you must then trust the defense. Stop being a passive target. And that's how you level the playing field. Do you remember that? That actually was from about 6 years ago. That was one of the videos I spoke about. Leveling the playing field. That's what I'm doing. I've been doing that for the longest now. Over this time, it is now coming to fruition. Because even we go about the system-wide implications. Institutional pressures. This is how the courts, statutes, and procedures create an environment that favor wolves. Wolves are also defendants. I'm going to say that one more time. The courts, the statutes, and procedures create an environment that favors wolves. Wolves are also defendants. Because 5% of people fight back. That 5%, they're wolves. Just off top, we don't even have to kill the wolf. Just the idea of fighting back, that shows that there is a wolf in you. The power imbalance. The judges, juries, and prosecutors often operate with more experience and leverage than defendants. Often. That's the key word, often. But again, they're still confined by the rules of the court, the statutes of the law, and the procedures that they are embodied in through their organic code. They're still locked in. You're still playing out here once you understand the game. And now, defensive strategy. Your awareness of systematic traps, aggressive pretrial motions, and early intervention, making sure the laydown, the foundation is built properly, and then listening, and then paying attention to what don't listen to what they're saying, but then watching their actions, watching how they move, right? And then one of the great cases is Baston v. Kentucky. It highlights using systematic rules to counteract bias. Baston v. Kentucky. Go and look it up if you don't want to watch the video I've done on it. Now, understanding the system is important as understanding your opponent. The law isn't inherently neutral. Has nothing to do with the truth. Has nothing to do with side. In fact, if you're not an attorney, if you're not a judge, if you're not a police officer, no one cares. No one cares about your side. Your side is the least important of them all. And the more you understand the rules, the better you can turn the table on those who would see you as prey. Cause I had someone call in yesterday and I was looking over their paperwork. Hope they don't get too upset with me, but it's good. And he asked me, he said, "What do you think?" I said, "If I was on the other side, this would be a 2-day trial." And he goes, "Why?" I said, "Because you're giving too much information." He's giving me sheep quality. Because I'm going to use your information against you. I'm going to use your information and destroy you with your information. And most people have no idea they're doing it. Why? Because they're just treading water and they're going in and they're thinking, "Oh, I got the truth and the truth is going to set me free." No, that's the Bible. That has nothing to do with law. That's for going to heaven. That ain't got nothing to do with going to prison. Always understand that. Now, ethical considerations, another box. Now, the mindset that's going to go into it. Being a wolf ethically, a zealous defense without violating rules of professional conduct. A zealous defense is understanding what plays to make, when to play them, and how to effectively make those plays. Because just like I talked about, the defense attorney, right? Had multiple on the show. Neither one of them had filed a detailed discovery until the one I gave them. I gave two people who went to school, who had been practicing for more than 5 years, the detailed discovery. Why didn't they have that? Oh, because they went and used the one that they give you from online. They use the one that's vague. The one that can be counteracted because the whole rule of the game is specificity. So if I give you something vague and you can go out and copy something vague and that vague works, you don't know that is not what it's supposed to be. But then whenever we have this chessboard and it looks real pretty and I start showing you this crystal king, you can't go back to that trash that you was playing on. You only can have that crystal king now. I play the same game. I use their rules against them. But I also understand how to make each piece as effective as possible. And understanding, maintaining perspective. Never compromise integrity to win, because you don't have to. This is never one of those games. No, the other side will. Because they've been doing wrong so long, they think it's okay. They think it's right. But you don't have to compromise who you are or the things that you're doing just to beat them. Because if you sit down long enough and be still, they'll give you everything that you need to win against them. Each and every time. Because every time you do something, they'll show you their hand. They'll show it to you. And when they do that, you got them. And once you got them, you got them. Being a wolf doesn't mean crossing ethical lines. It means preparation, foresight, aggressive advocacy within the rules. It also means applying strategy and staying disciplined to it. Every motion, every objection, every challenge is a calculated move. And when you combine that with ethical rigor, you protect yourself and your reputation. That's true mastery. Now, again, I'm going to wrap it up today. Wolves and sheep. Let's return to the central lessons. Awareness is survival. In the criminal justice system, wolves exist. And they are always alert. But being a sheep is a choice. I'm going to say that one more time. Being a sheep is a choice, and one that has serious consequences, because fear has no place in the legal fight. That's why it's called an adversarial system, because you are fighting. You are getting into a legal fight. And the more you can use this, which is why I speak about the Marines, because even when you're upset, this has to still work. You have to still be able to pay attention. You also have to be able to see movement, but you also have to be able to respond. Because if there's danger coming at you, you have to be able to think and calculate and be able to make sure you are remaining safe and don't go into just surviving. Because everybody that is a defendant, everybody that's in the legal process, it's about foresight, preparation, and assertiveness. Every motion you file, every objection you make, every negotiation you engage in is your way of saying, I see the wolf and I'm not afraid. And for yourself personally, it's about asking questions, understanding your rights, and never assuming that silence is always protection. The legal system is not a neutral arena. It's a battlefield. I've even referred to it as a boxing ring or the octagon. It's like any other combat initiative. Those who anticipate danger, adapt quickly, and move strategically are the ones who survive, thrive, and win. Don't be a sheep. Study the wolves, know their patterns, protect yourself, and know every tool, and hell, use every tool that's at your disposal. Ultimately, wolves and sheep is not a metaphor. It's a strategy guide for navigating the predators of the legal system. Awareness, preparation, and action turn vulnerability into power. And that's how you make your next move in court. Thank you for listening. And Supreme, I'm going to be back on later. But for right now, don't be a sheep. And I'm out.